Greetings, everyone, and welcome to the Virtual College Exploration Program for Indiana students. My name is Tiffany Powell. I am your session facilitator, and I want to go over some quick housekeeping rules before I turn this over to our presenters. If you would like to ask a question, you want to make sure you type your question in the Q&A box. Our presenters will get to those questions later on in this session. Your camera and your microphone are off, so our presenters cannot see or hear you. So again, it is very important that if you have any questions that you type it in our Q&A box. If you are interested and would like to sign up for more sessions, we do have more sessions available to you on our website, InACAC.org. You want to hit the tab for Virtual College Exploration, and you can see the schedule for upcoming sessions and information sessions from various colleges and universities. And this session will be recorded, and the recording will be available in approximately a week on the same website, InACAC.org/Virtual College Exploration. And at this time, I will turn it over to our presenters.
Thank you so much, Tiffany. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here. All right. Oh, that's the presenter view here. Let me fix this for you. Here we go. Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for attending our session tonight, brought to you jointly by InACAC and StriveScan. We are so happy to have you in attendance to help you start thinking about some of these questions that you see on your screen right now. And before we dive into our presentation, we're going to take a moment to introduce ourselves to you, as well as share a quick fun fact with you about our individual institutions. So my name is Kelly Meyer, and I am the Regional Admission Representative for the University of Evansville in Indianapolis. A quick fun fact about UE that not many people know is we actually have our own archaeological dig site on our campus. We're one of a very few number of campuses in the US that has that distinction. Back in the 40s, we had a number of houses and basically residence halls built for World War II veterans on our campus. And although those buildings are no longer there, we have the Tin City excavation site for our archaeology majors, which is pretty cool. I will turn it over to Ame.
Hi, good evening, and thanks so much for the pleasure and privilege of your time this evening. I am so delighted to be in such excellent company. These folks really are true professionals and dedicated to the cause, so I hope you'll have lots of great questions, and you'll find that we've given you lots of great information. So again, my name's Ame Shireman. I'm the Senior Associate Director of Admission at Hanover College. I too am a regional representative. I'm based here in Indianapolis. And a fun fact I have about Hanover College is that Hanover College is actually the answer to a Trivial Pursuit question. Our campus is the only spot where you can see the Ohio River bend in 3 places. Ta-da! I will turn it over to my esteemed colleague, Victoria Jeffries. Victoria.
Thank you so much. Good evening. And again, I'm glad that you've taken the time to learn a little bit about what we want to share with you. I am the Regional Admissions Representative for Johnson & Wales University. I cover the entire state of Indiana. I do live outside of Indianapolis. And a fun fact about Johnson & Wales is that we own our own beehives and produce honey that our culinary arts and baking and pastry students use in their food labs and actually in the dining rooms where they serve food. Over to Jen.
Who knew? Hey everyone, my name is Jennifer Potts and I'm a regional recruiter with the University of Alabama. I too also live in the region. I live in Fishers, Indiana, and I'm responsible for recruiting students from the state of Indiana to the University of Alabama. My fun fact is the University of Alabama is the most hashtagged college campus on Instagram with the hashtag Roll Tide. And now for more fun facts, I'm going to turn this back over to Ame to give us some more information about Hanover.
Okay, friends, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. hopefully. Here we go. Let's go ahead and get started here. Okay, so my job tonight is to talk to you about the benefits of a small school. So Hanover College is the quintessential small private liberal arts college. We're a total enrollment of only around 1,050 students. We're looking to push up to maybe 1,100, but we want to stay small because we think there are some terrific benefits to a small institution, and I'm going to share those with you. So why would you consider a small school? So I think it's important to, first of all, do an inventory and determine, what's really important to me? What do I need? What are those things that, oh guys, sorry about that it keeps happening. Let me see if I can make that stop real quick. What are those things that you look for as it relates to your best experience, especially in the classroom? Are you someone who benefits from individualized instruction and personalized attention? Are you somebody who, guys, I don't know why it's doing this, but it's doing it, so we're gonna roll with it. Are you a student who likes to optimize your opportunities, meaning you wanna have the opportunity to be involved in as many things as possible, to experience as many opportunities as possible? Maybe that's travel abroad, work, athletics, arts, but are you a student who benefits from having a lot to do and the ability to do a lot with ease? Are you a student who benefits from guardrails? I know that was me for sure. I was a student who needed someone to hold me accountable, someone who had the ability to get to know me personally and want to mentor me and kind of keep me in check and on path to make sure that I was successful along the way. So I liked those folks who checked in from time to time and provided me what I like to call those guardrails. Are you a student who really likes and values close relationships across the community? So not just close relationships with your peers, but close relationships with your faculty, perhaps with the chaplain or staff or coaches or other people on campus. Believe it or not, some of the folks who I grew to know the best and whose relationships I treasured the most were folks who weren't in my major or faculty teaching in my major. They were outside of my major. They were friends who I got to know who were in a different house or in a different, like I said, major. So it was a really nice way for me to branch out and to build those really close relationships across the entire community. Sometimes with a large school, that can be a tricky thing to navigate. Are you a student, like I said, who's interested? I tell my students all the time, if your formula for success has included playing the oboe or being maybe somebody who works or being an athlete or being a performing artist, why change that formula for success when you get to college? If that's been part of the equation as it relates to the ultimate experience that you've had, the level of fulfillment that you've had as it relates to going through your high school experience, then don't tamper with that formula and include possibly those things as co-curriculars, or maybe you go for a varsity sport or you look at a double major in performing arts. But I really think it's important that if you're a student who is interested in an opportunity that will build sort of a really solid life and secondary college experience, something like athletics, something like the arts, if that's something that you would, an environment you would thrive in or something you would benefit from, definitely look at a small school because we'll afford you those opportunities. I think also it's really important that you think about ease of accessibility. And when I say that, for students in particular who need learning support, students who need tutorial assistance, like I needed it desperately with math. I needed help with math to make sure that I met those requirements to graduate. So if you're a student who is looking for that type of support, or the types of services that will ensure your success, and wanting those things to be at the ready, right? Something that's available to you right away as you step foot on campus, and something that's really easy for you to navigate getting to. Then you might also want to consider a small school. I tell my students all the time, if you're a student like I was who needed learning support and that building is across campus and it's a really cold, dark February day in Indiana, there's just nothing that's going to drive you there and get you there, because it's not easy to get there. It's not something that's fun to do, right? So I tell my students, think about the ease and the way in which you would navigate securing those support services that will ensure your success. What's the downside to small? There is a downside, right? There is that added level of accountability and visibility. I think it's really important that students know, at Hanover, you're going to be held accountable. At a small school, they're going to know if you are missing class because you're one of 15 or one of 17 and you haven't shown up the past couple of days. They're going to know that. They're going to hold you accountable. You're going to have a rather high level of visibility. And for some of my students, that's great. For other students, like my niece, for example, she wants to fade into the background. She's not comfortable being in the spotlight. And so a big school was a perfect fit, and she's thriving in that environment. So I think you just need to remember in your mind, that might be one of the downsides. Another downside could possibly be the limited number of specific academic programs. So a lot of us have very general academic majors that are flexible and that are transferable across varying careers or career spaces. However, we don't have those really finite specific majors that large universities are able to offer. So that's something to keep in mind. Location can also be a challenge. A lot of small schools are in small towns, and small towns don't necessarily have a Target or a movie theater or a mall or a Banana Republic, your favorite spot, even a Starbucks, right? So think about the location as it relates to sometimes that being a challenge for small schools. And I really encourage you as a student, if you think small's the right environment, that's the ticket for you. If you're in a small or rural location, ask what opportunities there are for internships, externships, opportunities beyond those campus walls, so to speak, because a lot of us are really well positioned with great connections in big cities or throughout the United States and possibly the world. Smaller campus community. So my husband and I are both alums from Hanover College, and we were talking about the fact that, after you kind of settle in, you do sort of see the same people every day. But it's interesting that I hear my students from large schools also say they tend to see the same friend group every day as well. But it does sometimes present a challenge as it relates to a deep and broad and wide spectrum of diversity. Sometimes, you do. With 1,050 students or 1,100 students or 800 students, you're going to get to know everybody, and sometimes it's going to feel like close quarters. But again, if you benefit from those really great close relationships and the other benefits of a small institution, you can usually move through that concern. Facilities and accommodations extras can also be a challenge. I know a lot of big schools have chefs in each dorm, or they maybe have swimming pools in every dorm, or they have these really wonderful, fantastic kind of bells and whistles that I would love. But sometimes small schools just aren't financially positioned to offer all of those opportunities. So determine, like I said, in your wants and needs, how important those types of things can be. Again, this is just a quick refresher as you're starting to process how you should focus your search. What's the ideal learning environment? What's your ideal social environment? What do you need versus what you want? Those are two very specific things. Definitely visit when you can to get a sense. A lot of us are offering virtual, someone to say visual, virtual learning opportunities, but we're also offering in-person visit opportunities. So perhaps you take advantage of one of those to just get a sense and feel of the institution, and ask current students, especially if you're on a campus tour, ask them, hey, how did you make the decision to attend this particular school? Why do you like small? Tell me some of the benefits, tell me some of the challenges. Finally, if you've got questions, don't hesitate to ask us as your admission counselors. Definitely talk to your college counselor. Check out our college and university websites. And if you're interested in learning more about Hanover, come see me on Tuesday night through inacac.org for our presentation at 7:00 p.m. Okay, guys. Who's up?
I would say I am next if, oh, there we go. So I can have a screen. So I am charged with the task of discussing what the pros and cons of going to a school far from home. The reason that I can say that is that Johnson & Wales has 2 campuses. One of them is in Providence, Rhode Island, and the other one is in Charlotte, North Carolina. So any student that I recruit from our area has to move away. Benefits of going far away to college is the biggest thing is you get to introduce yourself or get to know somewhere new, and you get to do it on your own and gain that independence that could be really important for you in becoming the young adult and young professional that you are, can tell us the end of the day for many of us, that you are priming yourself to become. It does give you an opportunity to live in a new region and see things that you haven't seen before and broaden your horizons as you grow as an individual, because it gives you the idea to be around new cultures, new lifestyles, and that could be pivotal to you being marketable when you graduate from college. And the third thing I think is central is you get a fresh start. If you've grown up around the same people your entire life and you want to, have your full name instead of have the nickname version of you, being away from your high school crowd or from your high school, your small town, or the people that you have always been around, it could be a new start. It could give you the opportunities to make new friends and then take on new activities and new lifestyles. I know that I traveled quite a bit growing up, and where I went to college, it gave me the opportunity to do a lot of outdoors things that I hadn't done when I was growing up. But there is a downside, just like there's 2 sides to every coin. When you are away from home, there is a stronger likelihood of homesickness. So you need to really think through how well will you adjust to your new life while you're away. Is it something that you can handle, or is it something that really is going to push you beyond your comfort zone? And how will you manage missing those milestones? Because being further away, you can't make it back as much. The cost of traveling, the cost of moving could be more than your personal or your family budget can afford. And if that is the case, that could be an extreme drawback to trying to go to school further away. And another part of being away is, how do you get your stuff there? Some people, you're very comfortable with specific items around you. I know that most of my friends, we all went away to go to college, and I was so proud of my one classmate. He came to school with 1 trunk. That was all that he had. All of his season's worth of clothes were in there. Everything he needed was in that 1 trunk. And we admired him for that, because we were not able to minimize our stuff that much. The final thing, which no one ever wants to hope will happen, but how would you plan for an emergency? You get sick, a family member gets sick. What is it going to do for your travel plans to reunite with family members if needed? How will you seek medical attention and that sort of thing? So if you know that you do have ongoing pre-existing conditions, that could be a downside to being further away from home as a drawback. So overall, I ask students to consider a few things when you're thinking about being further from home versus closer to home. What is your comfort level? If you're comfortable, for some people, an hour is far from home. Other people, an 8-hour plane ride is far from home. So it's very subjective. What's your comfort level? What are your travel resources? If you do want to break free and get some space between you and your family and those that you have grown up with or graduated from high school with, your travel resources may only be able to take you to Gary, or they may only make it down to Evansville. They may not take you all the way to Rhode Island. So think through that too. You could still have that away experience, and what's far from one, I say again, may not be far from the other. And think through what your support system will be. If you are moving further away from your immediate family, do you have relatives and extended family where you want to go? If you do, how close would they be? And then what are the important things that you need as you're looking at a college? Think about the population you want to be around. Is there a certain demographic that you want to be near? Is there a certain geographic area? With us, we have the benefit of having two campuses that are very different sizes. So between 6,700 students in Rhode Island and 1,500 students in Charlotte, we give that dichotomy of being mid-size and smaller in the same swipe. Think about housing. If you want to be further away from home, do you want to live in a residence hall? Do you want to have your own apartment? A lot of schools, particularly those that have students from out of state, will have residential requirements. So when you think about costs, that could be something that could tie into that. Clubs and organizations, what do you do when you're not in class? Every school, all four of us are going to have a list of things that our students do. What are those activities outside of class that are important to you? For us, between our campuses, we have about 150, and they range from student government all the way through athletics, competitions, internships. How do you want to interact with our students? We're a hands-on university, so that gives us that ability to work with our students and give them the experiential learning that they may be interested in. And then applying to schools that are further away, it may take a little bit more planning. Do you want to apply early? Most of us, including Johnson & Wales, do have an early action deadline. Ours is November the 1st, and our regular admission is March the 1st. So try to plan. As Amay said, you do need to be able to visit campus. You need to be able to have access to the campus in whichever way is possible. Communicate with the school, request information. Anytime you see a QR code like this on anyone's presentation, that is your gateway to be able to request information. And the final thing I did mention of the cost of going away to school. How does your school actually support students in making it more affordable? With Johnson & Wales being test optional, we are able to review all of our applicants for merit-based scholarship, which is a foundation of our financial assistance for our students. And that ranges all the way up through need-based aid, which will be through your FAFSA. That's why we can offer aid to about 90% of our students that come to campus. As you're thinking of going to a school that is away from home, I completely repeat what Amay said. Take the time to visit the school. If you cannot physically get to campus, I know with us, only our Providence campus is having in-person visits right now. Our Charlotte campus hasn't reopened to that, but all of our universities have means to virtually be able to explore campuses. Go through our websites, request information, see if they have 360 tours of dorm rooms and academic buildings and those such things. And then as you're doing that, go back to those original questions. What's your comfort level? What's your support system? Truly, what is your travel budget that you may have to incorporate? And then your school needs to fit you. If you want to blend in, as Amay's niece did, larger may work. If you're like my daughter and you want a cozy school where you feel comfortable, smaller may work. So that's my take on what would work or would not work for going to school far away. My name is Victoria. If you want more information, there's my QR code, my contact, and I will turn it over at this point for our next presenter.
All right, that would be me. I'm going to get my screen shared here. And all right, so again, my name is Jennifer Potts, and representing the University of Alabama tonight, I'm representing a public institution that's semi-far from home, that's a big school. So I'm definitely the biggest on the panel. So I'm gonna talk to you from a perspective of, I actually went to a small school. I went to a school of 1,200 people. When I was in high school, I always thought choosing a big school, I kind of was told this actually by my counselors, but choosing a big school, they're like, you're gonna be a number and you're gonna get lost and you're gonna have no opportunities for leadership and the like. And I was definitely told wrong, because I have since learned that I can make a big school small. And I can make a big school small by being in an honors college or by being in a sorority or through clubs and organizations or whatnot. But I could never have made my school at 1,200 very big. But that said, this is our job, is to help you all determine what school is a good fit for you. So don't hesitate to use us as a resource. We're here to guide you. And I also want to say that if you'd like more information about the University of Alabama, I will be doing an information session next Wednesday at 7 p.m. So a little bit here. We are located in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. So for the out-of-state part, or for the far from home part, you could see our distances from areas of Indiana. One of the, thoughts about going out of state and going far from home is looking at schools where there's large out-of-state population. So at the University of Alabama, we have 50% of our students are from out of state. So typically what I hear working with Indiana students is that it's not as scary as they thought it was going to be, because nobody knows anybody. So it's a welcoming, friendly environment to get to know people. So again, just the benefit of being a large public institution is that we're going to have people from all over the globe. So literally all over the globe. So we have all 50 states, and we have numerous countries represented, and we have 277 Indiana students on campus. Another benefit of being a large public institution is we have lots of majors to choose from. We also are a major research institution. So research is kind of a common thread you'll find at large public institutions. So we're doing research in all the areas that you see here. We were also ranked #2 in the country for internship placement. So that's a big part of our educational experience, as well as what you'll find at many schools. Opportunities exist at all of our schools to do things like study abroad and the like. And I guess another point I'd like to add, just in kind of your college search as you're thinking about where you want to go to school, is how do schools handle undecided students? So if you're looking at this list and you were like me when I was in high school, completely overwhelmed by the thought of choosing something to study and deciding what I wanted to be for the rest of my life, then chat with those schools and figure out what's the policy there. So at Alabama, we like to know that you have a major nailed down around the end of your sophomore year at Alabama. So we give you lots of opportunities there to explore. Of course, another big perk of going to a large school is that there's always something going on. So we have over 600 student clubs and organizations. We have the biggest Greek system in the country, with 1/3 of our students in a fraternity or sorority. Lots of excitement, really vibrant campus life. So if that's what you're looking for, you'll find it at the University of Alabama, as well as a number of other large schools, of course. And of course, if you want a variety of eats, sometimes, at least where I went to school, there were 2 options back in the day. And at the University of Alabama, you can see all of our options here for a variety of food. Of course, workout centers, we have 2 of them on campus. Our old workout center, which is about a half a mile from where most students live, but it's super fancy. We learned that students don't like to walk to work out, so we built a new rec center. And that brings me to another point. So we're a little bit more spread out, probably, than many of the institutions that are represented here tonight. So if the thought of maybe taking a bus around campus or having a 20-minute walk to class is something that you're not excited about, then that could, of course, impact your college. Victoria mentioned this, of course, housing should be a factor when you're considering school. So what type of residency policy and what types of options are there? So I included a slide here just because I love to show this one off. The girl up at the top right, her name's Hope. She's from Indiana. She sent me the picture when she moved in this year, and I texted her back, and I'm like, well, your cute residence hall is decorated nicer than my house. I just think it's such a sweet picture. So what are the housing options like? And is that going to be a factor in where you choose to go to school? Of course, scholarships. What are the opportunities for scholarships in your college search? I don't have time to get into all of these, but just know all of us have options for merit aid and have options for other types of aid. So check into those as you're considering what type of fit for you. And since I was tasked with, considering a school that's out of state, a big school, I asked for a quote from a student from Indiana, just what her experience was choosing to go far away, essentially, for school. So this girl, she's a sophomore on campus, the one on the left, and she's originally from Hamilton Southeastern High School in Fishers. And she said, high school for me was amazing. I had a great group of friends. I didn't want to leave them, but I knew the best choice for me was to go out of state and meet new people. Not only would I meet new people, but I knew I would grow as a person more further away than staying close to home. It wasn't easy, but I made the best decision I could have ever made. The University of Alabama does an amazing job of getting freshmen involved to meet new people, whether it be through clubs, sports, Greek organizations, or intramurals. At Alabama, you'll find students from all over the country in your exact same shoes, looking to make new friends and enjoy their 4 years at UA like you. Leaving Indiana, I never realized how much more there is to life, and Alabama has given me these opportunities to go out and explore it. I have found a home at UA, and I wouldn't want to be anywhere else. So as I conclude my part, I just want to encourage you, again, that we are here for you. We are cheering for you. We want you to find the place that you're going to be successful. So whether that's a small school or a big school, or you're going to stay in state, or you're going to go far away, your options are limitless. You can do it. And next up, we have Kelly.
All right. Go ahead and share my screen here. Great. So tonight I am going to be doing a little bit of myth busting, talking about common misconceptions regarding small private universities by highlighting the University of Evansville. So let's see here. First thing is to just share a few quick stats with you. Total enrollment at UE is about 2,400 undergraduate students, so that does put us right there in that category for a small private school. Student to faculty ratio is 12:1, and our average class size is about 18. That's fairly typical for schools our size. And then as you can see, we just have a quick little graphic there to show you where we are in the state of Indiana. I didn't really put close to home on the title of my presentation because as Ame would also know, if you're living in the top corners of Indiana, Evansville or Hanover are going to be pretty far away from you. So if you're in Indianapolis or if you're in the southern part of the state, you are going to be pretty close to home, but you could be living in Indiana and be pretty far away choosing UE. First myth that I want to talk about is that a small university won't have my major. Go ahead and bust that myth for sure. As you can see this list of majors that we have to offer at the University of Evansville, we have a huge array of subjects for students to choose from. And we do have some really unique majors as well. I mentioned archaeology in my introduction, but we also have our program in clinical lab science or cognitive science. We have a global business program. We have an ethics and social change major. And then we have some really popular direct entry health sciences majors like physical therapy and physician assistant. So really there's something for you at UE, and we also have basically what we call major discovery. So if you're undecided, you can come in and you're going to have a lot of help from faculty to help you choose your major. Something else that has been hit on a few different times by my co-panelists this evening is studying abroad and what that looks like at a small university or a large university. At UE, we have a really unique study abroad program called Hanover College that we own ourselves. So it is a 100-room Victorian manor castle in Grantham, England. And because we're a small school, because we only have that 2,400 enrollment, we are able to guarantee that all of our students have this experience at some point if they want it. So they can do semester-long programs, they can do an internship semester or gap year, or even a 5-week summer program at Harlexton. It doesn't matter what their major is, but it is the #1 ranked study abroad program in the country and has been for many years, and it's a huge draw for our students. So that's just definitely something to ask about when you're looking at universities if you really, really want to go very far away for at least a little part of your university experience. The next myth that I want to talk about is that if you want to go to a small private school, your only choices for athletic programs are NCAA Division III and NAIA. And while we are sort of an exception to the rule at University of Evansville, we actually are an NCAA Division I school. We don't have football, so if football is a big deal to you, we don't have that. But we have 17 other sports for men and women, and we have a really robust men's basketball program. And so it's a really cool niche that we fit. being one of the smallest universities in the country with a Division I program for students who want to compete at the Division I level, get those nice athletic scholarships, but also be in a small school setting. And it's just great for students who want to spectate sports. You know, if you're really interested in watching super high level athletics in college, but going to a small school, we can fit the bill for you here. Of course, we've already talked about student organizations and what that looks like at small universities versus large universities. We have over 130 student orgs, which is a lot considering how small we are. We have a lot of community service opportunities, and I highlighted here the word change making because we are the only accredited change-making university in the state of Indiana. There are about 50 of us in the world. Duke is another example of a change-making institution. And basically, it means that we provide students with opportunities to start changing their environment in a positive way freshman year. Because we're so small, that opportunity is accessible to all of our students, which is very cool. We also have a lot of leadership development, and Greek life is something to bring up when you're thinking about a small school versus a large school. Only about 23% of our students are Greek at UE, so it's a pretty small population, but they do a lot of cool philanthropies on campus. They're very involved, and it's a really laid back recruitment process, so it's not super intense. It's very different than like maybe what you see sometimes on TV or in movies, and it can be a really nice supplement to your education at UE. Then we also have a ton of intramurals. We have a lot of students who were athletes in high school who maybe are not going to compete at the Division I level, but they still want to compete. And so the intramurals can provide them with that opportunity as well. Next myth that I want to talk about is that private colleges and universities are not affordable. As you can see at UE, we are very transparent about the kind of aid that we award. So we have this nice scholarship grid, very similar to what you saw with Alabama's out-of-state scholarships as far as transparency. So you can see where your GPA is and your test scores. We are a test optional school, so if you don't have test scores, you're just going to be awarded based on your GPA. And we're always going to award you the higher amount. So right here, you can see that highest presidential scholarship award could be $23,000 a year worth of academic and housing scholarships. Our tuition is $37,500 a year. So we can really take care of a large portion of tuition for families and make it so that this is an affordable option for you. We also have a large number of add-on scholarships for families based on things like filling out the FAFSA, or if you're a valedictorian, or if you're in our honors program. I highly recommend that you see for yourself why a small private school might be the best fit for you, right in your backyard, of course, here in Indiana. And something that you're probably hearing right now is that no one is scheduling in-person visits, but we are. We actually have been offering in-person on-campus visits since June 22nd without any incidents, with lots of heightened safety procedures. And actually, as of yesterday afternoon, in total on our campus, we only have one active COVID-19 case, and that's among all students, all faculty, and all staff. So when you consider the fact that we have 2,400 undergraduates, plus we have grad students, then all the faculty and staff, and only one active COVID-19 case, this truly, to me, speaks to our campus community and the fact that, you know, our students really want to be on campus. They're respectful of each other. They're wearing masks. They're not having huge gatherings because they want to be there and they care about each other. So that's something that I think is really, really cool. You can register for our on-campus in-person visits now at this website. We always make an effort for you to meet with faculty because we want students to be able to talk to their prospective teachers as well as admission counselors. In-person visits are best, but we do have virtual visits as well. We can do an individual virtual visit or a group visit, as well as connect you with a current UE student virtually. And then, of course, I would definitely recommend, if you heard anything tonight from me that piques your interest about UE, that you check out our StriveScan InACAC virtual session, just like this, next Monday, October 12th at 6 p.m. Eastern. My colleague Heather Cook will be running that in admission. She is the recruiter for our local Evansville area, and she's awesome. And then we're also going to have some faculty and current students on that session, which will be really nice. And you can register there at that website. Last but not least, I think we all made it really clear that we want you to contact us. We want you to ask us questions. That's what we're there for. We love talking to families and meeting new students. So again, this is my contact information. I am regional here in the city of Indianapolis, but I do also recruit for Richmond, Columbus, and Bloomington. And then this is my email, office phone, work cell phone. You can call or text anytime. And then if you're unsure of your territory counselor for UES, we do have other counselors who cover the state of Indiana. Aside from myself and Heather, you can click on that website and that will show you who your counselor is. All right, so with that all being said, I think we are all going to come back and see if we have any questions. No, that was great. I loved it.
Like that.
All right, so if you have any questions, please go ahead and drop them in the Q&A box. I'm going to go ahead and start off with one that we already have. So this question is from Chris, and it says, I am a junior beginning my college search. Do you have any advice for me?
The best piece of advice that I've heard, and I've done this for 25 years, it came from my colleague who works at Anderson University. And he said, make a list of your needs and your wants. And I thought that was such brilliant advice. Take out a piece of paper and write down, here are my basic needs. These are the things I need in order to be successful in college. And these are the things I want. I don't need them. They'd be nice. And it would be maybe something that would tip the scale if I'm really torn between two institutions. But I think so many students think about the big picture, which is my career and my major and, you know, all of these great big things that we really don't expect for you to have solved at this point in the process. So take that big picture stuff and instead really focus on what is it I need and what is it I want. And when you find that list, I think when you are able to suss that out, you're going to see pretty quickly, I need to be closer to home. I need significant aid, which means I might need to commute. I need a small school, or, wow, I'm terrified to get called on in class. I do not want a small school. I want a big school, or I need a very specific major that may not be offered at a small school. So I think it's important that you just sort of start there versus the end game. So many students think about the end game. Don't think about that yet. Think about what do you need versus what you want and take it from there. That's a great question, Chris. Awesome question.
That is it.
Right. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Victoria.
No, I was going to say that is it in a nutshell with any of the decisions that any of the topics that we talked about. It's what's the need and what's a want.
Absolutely. This next question is for Jennifer, but any of us could answer this for our campuses, is what are the mental health / academic resources like on your campus?
Oh, yeah. That's a really great question. So I'm going to answer this generally. Every school wants you to be successful. So we all want you to do well in the classroom. We all want you to do well out of the classroom. So I would bet that every school in the country in the world has those opportunities for you to succeed. So you got to reach out if you need help. Or today I had a phone call with the mom of a current student. And she's like, my son bombed his midterm. And I'm like, he's got to reach out. And this was a kid who was a 4.0 and a 32 ACT. He was very, very bright. But everybody struggles in something. So know that we all want you to be successful. And we have tutoring, and we have writing centers, and we have mental health resources. College is hard. It is certainly tougher now than it's ever been with all this COVID stuff and wearing masks and making friends and whatnot. So just please, when you go to school, please know that we want you to be successful, and we have counselors, and we have, I was on a panel the other day, and they have massage chairs at this school, and there's just ways for you to cope with this kind of reality now. Anybody else have some ideas there?
A university is only as good as students use the resources there. So that can go from mental health, physical fitness, and even academic help. So as you look at schools, look at how you're going to be able to actually reach out and advocate for yourself no matter what you are and no matter what that need is. Your school can only serve you as well as you are going to reach out and try to get that assistance for yourself. And that's across the board, even with crazy roommates that you didn't pick. If you don't ask for help, then it's not going to be there for you. And I think that's one reason why students end up saying they made the wrong choice, close, far, large, small. They didn't use all the things at the school to the greatest of their ability.
Yeah, that's great. Just life advice in general, Victoria. I think it's just when you need help, ask for it. So it looks like we're at time, but thank you all so much for coming tonight. And I will turn it back over to Tiffany.
Thank you.
Thank you. I'm trying to share my screen real quick so I can give you all some closing tips. So first off, thank you all for attending this session. We also want to thank our presenters for coming on board and sharing their wealth of information. Hopefully you found this session to be extremely beneficial to you, to help provide some clarity and insight as you continue this journey in finding your best fit for your college career. Just want to make you aware that when you close out of this window, you will receive a very quick, very quick survey. We are asking that you please complete the survey, that you be truthful in the survey, because we use that feedback to help improve the sessions. Also, the next 2 weeks, starting again on Monday, we will have more sessions. So the next 2 weeks will be the individualized info sessions from the respective colleges and universities. So please go to our website, InACAC.org, go to the Virtual College Exploration page, and you can see the listing of the different colleges and universities scheduled to present over the course of the next 2 weeks. And then, as I previously mentioned, recordings of all of our sessions. So if there were sessions that you missed Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday that you wanted to partake in, all of the recordings will be uploaded on our site, again, InACAC.org. You'll be able to retrieve those recordings in about a week, and then those sessions for the next 2 weeks, give them about a week after the completion of the week, and then you'll be able to retrieve those sessions as well. So again, thank you for attending. Have a good night, and hopefully we'll see you next week or the next 2 weeks.